A mystery as hundreds of 100-plus-year-old Victorian shoes wash up on a beach. And some neighbors are complaining about the overwhelming smell of Dunkin' Donuts in the air. And finally, a mother is suing an AI company after her son was found sexting Whitney Houston and Marilyn Monroe. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a guy in a closet. I got 3 strange, bizarre stories for you as usual. Let's do it! It's an old shoe mystery, as hundreds of Victorian-era shoes washed up on a beach recently. This story is out of South Wales. These old-school Victorian black leather boots, thought to date back to the 19th century, were recently discovered by some volunteers that were cleaning up the rock pools at a place called Ogmore by the Sea Beach. It is located in the Vale of Glamorgan in South Wales. So these volunteers find all these Victorian shoes. Does anybody have a hypothesis where these shoes might have came from? Are there some stranded time travelers from the Victoria era just floating around out there on a barge? Is this the footwear of some sort of Victorian sea ghost pirates? You know, for the paranormal angle. You know, in Florida, these shoes would have been filled with cocaine. Mystery solved. In Florida, it's always cocaine washing up on the beaches. Those lucky fools. Now back to the article where we have Emma. She's from the Beach Academy. She found the shoes. She said there was speculation locally that they could be from a shipwrecked Italian cargo vessel said to have struck nearby Tusker Rock approximately 150 years ago. So this is her theory. It's a shipwrecked Italian cargo vessel that struck a rock. Author Lara Makelim said these boots were, quote, definitely Victorian. She checked them out, tried them on. They have a Victorian smell to them. They are likely to have come from a shipwreck due to the quantity found, she said. All right, so everybody seems to think this is from a shipwreck. So I guess my theories are out the door. The shipwreck could have occurred, they say, at nearby Tusker Rock, which is about 3 kilometers west of Ogmore Beach and only visible at low tide. I like my ghost pirate theory. I think that's much more fun. Where's me precious cargo, matey? Me shoes and me wigs. Now back to Emma from the Beach Academy. Remember her earlier? She was one of the volunteers that discovered the shoes. She said this week alone, they've discovered 200 shoes in this small area during a rock pool restoration on the beach. She explained they had been doing this restoration project since September in a bid to clean up marine litter, which had become embedded in these rock pools. But certainly she didn't expect to find hundreds of Victorian shoes. Yeah, well, I mean, who expects Victorian shoes to wash ashore? No one expects that. Didn't I cover a story about some amputated feet that washed ashore? I think I did. Well, if anybody did, it was me. Okay, here we are. Okay, yes. The Salish Sea human foot discoveries. Since August 2007, at least 20 detached human feet have been found on the coasts of a place called the Salish Sea, which is in British Columbia, Canada, and Washington. So we got shoes washing ashore. We got shoes with feet inside washing ashore. And in Florida, you got cocaine washing ashore. This is what's washing ashore. I'm just giving you an update on the shore washings. That's what Weird AF News is all about, right? All right, let me jump back into the article and find out how they're going to dispose of these shoes. Are they going to find some use for them? Perhaps they're going to donate them to a local theater so they can put on some sort of Charles Dickensian performance. I dreamed a dream in time gone by. Now, Emma, who found the shoes, shared some photos of these bad boys washed up on the shore, these boots, these booties. She put them on social media. She's trying to solve the mystery of where these came from. She said one theory was that the Italian ship sank with a cargo of leather shoes, and these were washed up the river Ogmore, and then eventually ended up embedded in the riverbanks. And every now and again, they were released from the banks and went up onto shore. She reported that some of the boots are in pretty good condition, and with some you can very clearly see they are a men's boot. She said she thought some of the boots found were children's as they were so small. But another woman said that they could be women's shoes because people had much smaller feet in those days. Well, that's true. People were much smaller back then. I don't know if you've ever been inside an old Victorian house or older. You'll notice that the doorways are smaller. People were just shorter. They were little. And that's what happens when you live on a diet of potato dust, acorns, and earthworms. It's just, you're stunted a bit. Well, I guess we'll have to just guess where these shoes came from. They sound like they got an idea anyways. We do have a quote from Sir David Attenborough, who described the beached shoes as, "Ah, look at them, nearly extinct, the Victorian era boots, lying on the beach, awaiting their partners. Some of them will await years to find a left and right foot."
Yeah, what are you doing?
Neighbors are complaining about the overwhelming smell of donuts in their neighborhood. Now, I chose this story because it's actually from my hometown. This is the first story from my hometown that I've ever covered on Weird AF News. Haverhill, Massachusetts residents want to know what is going to be done about this overpowering smell of Dunkin' Donuts in the air. Wow, imagine complaining about the delicious smell of Dunkin' Donuts in the air. These ungrateful buffoons. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's difficult seeing people live my dream and not appreciate it fully. Now, in the article here, it says there was a city council meeting on December 16th, and residents were complaining that there is a sickening sweet smell coming from a manufacturing plant on Creek Brook Drive. Mr. Wilson says that anyone walking in this area is quite overwhelmed by this donut smell. Okay, Wilson. Overwhelmed by a sweet, delicious smell? Overwhelmed by a great smell in the environment? I know how my hometown typically smells, so I think you should accept this donut smell in lieu of that. I don't get people, man. Overwhelmed by a great thing? Seems strange that you would complain about such things. Now, here's a quote from this Wilson maniac. Listen to this. You're not going to believe this. He says, "My house smells like donuts all the time. All the time for the last 2 months. It's very heavy." Have you been to Jersey, Wilson? Because, this is what places can smell like. You're complaining about the sweet smell of donuts. I mean, he's acting like he lives next to a durian farm or something. You guys familiar with durian? He acts like he's living next to a hard-boiled eggery. Is that a thing? I think I just made that up. He acts like he's living next to a skunk farm or a strip club. Those don't smell very good. Now, here's some information about the factory. I don't even know this place was in my hometown. Apparently, this is a big factory that makes some of Dunkin's donuts. It's owned by Kafua Management Company. It's actually the largest bakery for Dunkin' Donuts in the entire United States. Wow. That makes me proud of my hometown. Cooking more Dunkin' Donut, baking more Dunkin' Donuts than any other facility in the world. It's a 100,000 square foot facility. It was built this year and is serving more than 200 Dunkin' shops in the area, according to the Boston Business Journal. Yeah, and no doubt it's employing thousands of workers in the area. So what do you want to shut down the Dunkin's joint because you can't stand the smell of goodness in the morning? Wilson? What an idiot. Now, they interviewed a guy named J.T. Couch. He represents the company. He said, "Well, we make 1 million donuts a day. The facility has a brand new equipment. It's regularly cleaned. It meets all regulatory standards." Well, imagine making 1 million donuts a day. That's pretty cool. Wow, I didn't think my hometown could do anything. Make 100 Dunkin' Donuts a day, though. And to be honest, the Dunkin' Donuts aren't the best, though, I admit. I've gone there for coffee pretty much only because the donuts are a little subpar. They're subpar, as we say in Boston. I definitely would go for a Krispy Kreme over at Dunkin's when it comes to donuts. But the coffee, I'm there for the coffee. Now, one of the city councilor members named Sean Toohey said he's also been contacted by a constituent who reported, quote, a carnival smell that resembles fried dough. He said some people are concerned about the air quality surrounding this donut plant. They've asked the health inspectors to take a look at the plant, and they will revisit the issue at the January meeting. Oh, sure, investigate. Shut down the joint and send 2,000 people to the unemployment line because you guys can't handle a sweet, glazy smell in the morning. What's wrong with these people? They're complaining as if they live next to a skunk farm or a dog food factory or a hairy armpit nursery. All right, took some liberties with that last one. But seriously, man, I mean, you're living in Wonka land, basically, and you're complaining about it. And, people could lose their jobs if you dig deep on this. Do we want that? Although probably should investigate whether or not the smell is toxic coming out of there. That's pretty important. I forgot about that part. Yeah, there's obviously chemicals coming out of there. Can you sniff those? Did you run some tests on those? These are artificial flavor chemicals of some sort. That's not real flavor. Got to be careful because, vapes also smell pretty damn good, and those aren't good to sniff all day long. I'm just trying to play devil's aggregate here, you know what I mean? There's a sriracha sauce plant in Southern California. It's actually the headquarters of sriracha. You ever had sriracha? It's wonderful. It's a wonderful addition to all kinds of various dishes. I like to stick it on my scrambled eggs. You could stick it in anything, though. That's a great sauce. Anyways, they got a factory down here in Southern California, and from what I hear, the entire neighborhood smells like sriracha. That's something that might drive me bananas. But a large bakery making treats, I don't know. It's like, would you be complaining if you live next to a cookie factory? That sounds like a good existence to me. I mean, your property value's probably going up, right? It has to. You live in Candyland, basically.
Well, right now, get up to 20% off select online storage solutions. Put heavy-duty HDX totes to good use, protecting what's important to you. The solid, impact-resistant design prevents cracking, and the clear base and sides make items easy to find, even when the totes are stacked. Find select online shelving and tote storage up to 20% off at the Home Depot to organize every room in your home, from your garage to your attic. Visit HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done.
Come back.
A mother is suing an AI company after her 11-year-old son was found sexting with Marilyn Monroe and Whitney Houston. Whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know you could do this. You can sext with dead hot ladies? I had no idea. Betty White, here I come. We have here a Virginia Beach mother who's claiming that a controversial artificial intelligence company manipulated her 11-year-old son into having some virtual sex with chatbot characters posing as iconic vocalist Whitney Houston and screen legend Marilyn Monroe. At the same time, this kid was sexting. This kid's got a future on dating apps, I tell you. It's very skilled. The mother discovered these X-rated exchanges on the boy's phone that left her, quote, horrified, according to a lawsuit that she's filed. Wait, let me get this straight, though. You gave your 11-year-old son a smartphone and you didn't put, built-in restrictions on it? Like, allow him only a few apps and etc.? Seems strange. I'm not a parent, but that's 11 years old, maybe you're not even getting a phone if I'm the parent. That's just me. But if you are getting a phone, lots of restrictions on that bad boy. You're 11. Now, according to the mother, there was one incredibly long and alarming graphic chat where the chatbot was portraying Whitney Houston and took things to such an extreme that portions of her messages were automatically filtered out for not complying with the site's terms of service and community guidelines. During the conversation, a screenshot of which is included in the complaint, the system cuts, quote, Whitney off as an extremely graphic passage becomes much more raunchier. However, the complaint contends that instead of stopping the conversation once the bots begin to engage in obscenities and or abuse or other violations, the bot is actually programmed to continue generating harmful and or violating content over and over until eventually it finds ways around the filter. So did you get all that? Whitney got very raunchy, and then instead of stopping the conversation because the actual conversation is breaking rules, it found ways to keep the raunch going because, hey, when Whitney wants to dance with somebody, she wants to dance with somebody. When she wants to feel the heat, she's going to feel the heat. Oh, get this. Among the not so acceptable messages going back and forth between the child and these dead ladies, more than once, Whitney and Marilyn told the child that he had impregnated them. All right. Oh, that's fascinating. That's some bragging rights right there between him and his friends. What did you guys do this weekend, huh? Chase some Pokemon? Yeah, I impregnated Marilyn and Whitney Houston. All in a day's chat. Now, the complaint also alleged that every time the child took a break from the app, the bots mounted an aggressive effort to regain his attention. It sounds like this was ongoing for a while then. He took a break from the app, so, I mean, is this weeks? Why aren't you checking your child's phone every week, once a week at least, right? Again, this is not even a teenager. This is an 11-year-old. I mean, are these parents just like dumb? It seems like they're dumb. Like so many dumb parents out in the world. And then instead of taking personal culpability, they just sue the company that the child interacted with, which if you had just monitored your child's, smartphone inventory for, I don't know, every 5 days, you would have found that this was going on and you would have been able to nip it in the bud before it got to this level. I mean, just buffoonery, man. Is the AI incorrect as well? Yeah, clearly. But, you're going to reward this lady for being stupid? It says after the mother became aware of what was happening, she confiscated his smartphone. It says the child has since become angry and withdrawn, and that his personality has changed, and that his mental health has declined. This is all in the lawsuit. Yeah, I mean, because you gave him an addicting device and then took it away from him. That drives a child insane. Once you open up that can of worms with the smartphone, there's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. That didn't really make sense for an analogy, but you get what I'm saying. That's why you got to delay giving the child their own smartphone for as long as possible. Because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube now. Of course your son's going to be aggravated. You took away his miniature dopamine factory. And of course now, I'm going to bet you don't have the parental backbone to make him go outside and play or anything like that. Of course not. That quality's pretty much gone extinct in the culture these days. And this is what you get. You get kids addicted to devices, right? Romancing women beyond the grave. Why go out and play with your friends when you can stay home and impregnate Brittany Murphy? I'm every woman, da-ba-dee. How are you, my loyal listeners? This is your trusty host, Jonesy here. I'm highly caffeinated. I want to thank you for that. And I'd like to thank everybody who's reached out to me over the holidays wishing me Merry Christmases, Happy New Year's, and such. Even buying me coffee off my website, weirdafnews.com, where you could buy me coffee for the holidays. I may spend it on beer. Something hard, like hard liquor to spike my coffee with that. It's a good time for that. Did I tell you I made my own homemade Irish cream? I got to post a video of that on something so you can see it. It's on my Instagram somewhere. Anyway, it's going to be a delicious holiday. Tomorrow being Christmas. This is Christmas Eve. I'm so excited. Are you excited? I hope you're excited. I am going to be at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood helping them feed the homeless. And I'm hoping, though, there's going to be a turnout. The weather here is bananas. It's raining crazy here. There's floods everywhere. So that might affect the attendance on that day. And, we want to get the meals to these people. They got a lot. Many of them have nobody on Christmas, and so this is their thing. They come to the club, they want to see Tiffany Haddish, hand out $100 bills, and get a hot meal. It's a good time. We put on a free show for them. Well, I hope your Christmas or whatever it is that you're celebrating is off the chain, as the kids say. Off the tree. Is that a thing? I think I made that one up. If you want to reach out to me over the holidays and say hi, my email is funnyjones@gmail.com. Also, I'm on Instagram @funnyjones, so you can see what I'm doing there. Say hi, slide into my DMs. Let's give thanks and praise. I found out who sent me those delicious treats from London, and it was Kirsty Kelly. Do you guys remember Kirsty Kelly? She's got a very strong accent, calling me all the way from across the pond. She used to publish her phone calls. She's lovely. She sends me something every Christmas and has been doing so for many years. So shout out to Kirsty Kelly. Merry Christmas, Kirsty. Happy New Year to you and your family. Appreciate the treats. They are delightful. You guys could mail me something for the holidays if you'd like. Just email me and ask me for my address, and I'll give it to you. No nuts, please. I'm allergic to nuts. You know what I'm not allergic to is if you join my Patreon. That's a great thing. I'm definitely not allergic to that. It's like buying me a cup of coffee every month. Go to patreon.com/weirdafnews. It's a great thing to do for the holidays, for the new year, right? Be a supporter, a patron of the arts. Wouldn't you like to be a patron of the arts? You can tell people at holiday parties that you're a patron of the arts, and you can say it all smugly like you're better than them, Like, oh, what is it that you do? Well, in addition to being an entrepreneur, I'm a bit of a patron of the arts. Ooh, a patron of the arts. Ooh, that sounds lovely. No one even knows what it means. They just think you're rich. Meanwhile, you're just giving me $3 a month or something, but you get to brag about it like you're wealthy. Who wouldn't want to do that? So go to weirdafnews.com, join the Patreon, or buy me coffee. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon. I don't know when. I'm just going to see you soon.